Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Crafting with Holly. Today I have a new sketch for you and we're gonna think outside of the box with 6x6 designer series paper. I don't know about you, but I struggle with visualizing past the size of a 6x6 and seeing how does it work in a 12x12 format. So I am going to give you a little bit of tricks and some tips along the way on how I took the BoHo Vibes designer series paper and that entire beautiful suite and turned it into a really fun scrapbook layout documenting a road trip that I took to Amelia Island just really almost 2 weeks ago. So I'm going to drop you down onto my desk and let's get scrapping together. BoHo Vibes Suite Collection starts on page 61, and you can find all of the products that are in the suite on page 62 and 63. And I used everything. So let me just pull this out of the way so that you can see. This is the sketch that we're going to be working with today. 6 different photos. And really, I'm going to show you how to take those 6x6 pieces of designer series paper, and we're basically just going to turn them into banner pieces on a 12x12 layout. And so this is the photopolymer Sunshine Vibes stamp set. You're going to see we're going to get some stamping done on our scrapbook layout. And then this is the dies that make that phenomenal rainbow, and I cannot wait to show you how I created my rainbows. And then we're also going to be using the muted palette dots that coordinate perfectly with this designer series paper, and this is truly the hero of this collection. I absolutely love all of these colors. I love how they created all of these amazing background patterns, and you'll see that this is the front and back, 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 front and back. And oh my word, you get a ton of these. In fact, if you look inside the catalog, you're going to get, well, usually they tell you how many sheets you get in each of the designer series papers, but it's not showing. It's a lot. It's almost like 4 sheets of every single pattern. It is really substantial. Oh, you know what? It's found on page 120 in this catalog. So let's go and look right now. Flip over to page 120. Haha, here we go. 48 sheets, 6 each of 8 double-sided designs. And then these are the colors in there. Cajun Craze, Cloud Cover, Daffodil Delight, Mossy Meadow, Petal Pink, and Secret Sea. I knew there was an answer to that question. And then I also am using the Stylish Shapes, and I'm using these 2 banners right here. So I'm going to go ahead, take this sketch, I'm going to go ahead and cut all of my pieces out, and then I'll bring it back, and we're going to start getting this layout assembled. The first part I like to do when I'm starting my left page is I'm going to mark where I'm going to be stamping this image from the Sunshine Vibes photopolymer stamp set. And so I know that I have this piece of cloud cover marked at 2 inches, and this one I have it marked at 10. So I'm going to go ahead and remove everything here in order so that I can remember how I had these. I'll do the bottom last, top first. I'm going to set these off to the side, and then I'm going to take my rainbow. We're going to build that together. I'm going to set that off to the side, and then I'm going to take my photo mats, move them over, take off the glimmer paper and the 2 pieces of cloud cover. And I'm going to take a ruler and a pencil, and I'm now going to mark this at the 2-inch mark. I'm going to make sure that that is lined up properly on here, just like that. And again, take my ruler at the 2-inch mark because that is the bottom. Just do it real lightly. You can always go back and erase it. And then we're going to come up here to the 10-inch mark. And we're going to mark that as well. And again, just a nice, light, thin pencil mark, just like that. And now I'm going to go ahead and take the sunshine and we're going to stamp off on both ends, and then we're going to meet in the center. So I'm going to grab my desk pad so I can stamp off onto this. And I'm going to grab Daffodil Delight. And we are going to ink up this part over here. And we're going to line that right up where, and you know what, we're going to go about halfway. Just put that right onto the line, just like that. And then we're going to take the sunshine and we're going to bring that in just like that. Oh my gosh, I love this. Okay, now we're going to go over here and do the other side, just like we did here. It's going to be about halfway. Just make sure you come as close to that line as possible. And then this will allow us to build the sunshine on both sides. And we can be pretty even. And so don't forget the sunshine. Let's do it this way. Right? So we want him to be a little spaced out. So I love that this is a half of a sunshine. So it really helps you see exactly how much room you have. And it's okay if that goes past the line because you're not going to see that. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to do the same thing over here. We just want to make sure that we have enough space for both of them. And it's okay if you don't get a lot of ink on there. You can always go back, fill that in. I love the fact that they're photopolymer because you can see right through them. And then we're going to just come back over here. Oh my goodness, I love this. And the great thing is we're going to have just enough room to do one more right here in the center. Just like that. Perfect. Yay! Okay, so now down below here, I'm going to take these little lines from the stamp set, which is right here, and we're going to stamp in Secret C all the way across. And again, you can, oh, we want to do it this way, sorry. Yeah, it's all right if we want to go off a little bit. And then just try and bring those as close to the line as possible. Don't have to press hard into the ink pad to get the ink that you need. So just be careful of that. And we're going to do a couple more accents on here. Not too bad. Didn't get too much ink on my hands. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to take a water brush And we are going to just put a little bit of color from Secret Sea over here in this quadrant. And then we're going to spray a little bit down here in this quadrant. So I'm going to just take my ink pad. We're going to squeeze it in the center. Oops, not. Make sure you squeeze hard. There we go. We're going to pick up a little bit of color here, get some water on there. And if you need to, wipe some of it off or get a little bit more water in there so that it's not too overly saturated. And we're just going to come over here and we're just going to tap. Just like that. And then I'm going to turn the page over here and just tap. Well, might need to get a little bit more water on there. There we go. Okay. I just love that. It just gives that little look of color in both areas. And then I'm going to set this off to the side because I'm going to wipe that all out. The next thing that I want to do is I want to stamp the sun. There's like a little tiny sunburst on here. This little guy. And I'm going to stamp him up here in the quadrant. I forgot to grab a block, so I'm going to just grab a block and we're going to use the Cajun Craze. And I'm going to just put that right over here like that. And then as I'm building this, I will eventually be accenting with these little hearts. And I'm going to put some hearts in all the various shapes and sizes on here. If I can get them off. I think that's a medium one. So I'll be doing that later, but I just want you to see kind of how that cluster is going to work. And then we're going to use some of these amazing muted palette dots on here to also accent with. So now we are ready to actually start putting this page together once we've done all of our stamping. And then we'll come in and we'll bring in the right page next. We're going to go ahead and attach these. Let me go ahead and get some adhesive on the back. I'm going to speed up the video for you so that you don't have to watch me do all these little minute pieces. But I will tell you that I first put the 1.5 inch piece down here at the bottom, and it's actually supposed to be the 2 inch piece. So you're going to see in just a minute me kind of fast forwarding after I realized that I made a mistake. When I put the photo mat down, I was like, wait a second, this is not the way the pattern is supposed to look. What did I do wrong? And so I realized that I put the wrong piece down here. And it's just going to take a couple of minutes of me realizing that these two photo mats don't match up. And I'm like, what did I do wrong? So I'm looking at my computer to try and see what the pattern looks like. And I'm realizing where these photo mats are placed, something isn't right. And then I realized, aha, I put the wrong piece right here. So now I am going to pause the video and I'm going to fix it and come right back, because it truly is a big mistake in this design process because of where everything is hitting it. So I still am attaching these other pieces, as you can see, before I find out that I made a mistake. So that's the beautiful thing about recording and doing this, is I can always come back and fix my mistakes. Okay, so I've already fixed the mistakes. You don't even see it. Everything is back where it needs to be. And now I'm taking the banners and I'm attaching them down here at the bottom. And I'm creating a pattern with them that will repeat. And so the banners that I'm using on this side will also then repeat over onto the right page. And I'm just butting them right up against each other. Love the rub and remove eraser. When you make mistakes, you can always go back and fix those. And it's a great tool to have in your arsenal. So I'm just finishing up the banners right now and just finding where I want them placed, and I am kind of adjusting them as needed. And if you don't have the take your pick tool, it's a great tool to use when you do make mistakes as well. But it's also great for placing those little tiny fine pieces. So now I'm taking the rainbows, and I love that you can cut them out of multiple colors. And I'm just turning them upside down, and I'm using the repositionable glue. It's the green glue, I call it. And I'm just putting it onto each of the rainbow cutout die pieces. And what I love about this glue is that as you put it on, it becomes clear and repositionable. And you all know me, when I am crafting, I make a ton of mistakes. So I'm so thankful to have this glue available to help me. And so now I'm just dotting where I want to put those little tiny hearts. And I'm using the take your pick tool, the putty side. And I'm using the putty side to help me place them where I want them on the layout and on those little dots of glue that I put on there. And then I'm taking these muted resin dots and using some of the colors. I love these colors. They match this BoHo Vibes collection so perfectly. And so I'm just staggering a combination of small ones and large ones. And then you can see that cluster a little bit closer. And I love how that splattered look turned out with the ink. And then I'm going to go ahead and start attaching my rainbow. You can see where you can reposition it and put it exactly where you want to. And if you don't have it where you want it, you can lift it up because that adhesive has dried clear now. And each of the rainbows that I'll be making are all different. And that's what I love about this die is they don't have to all look the same. You can mix and match the colors. You're cutting so many of them out already, so you might as well mix and match them. So I'm placing that first rainbow down there. That's the other rainbow that I made. And I'm attaching that one up at the top. I love that visual triangle, which is what I'm creating now with these decorative accent pieces. And then I'm taking those dies, the Stylish Shapes, I believe, and I love those banners, and that's what I'm stamping hello on in Secret C, and then attaching that right on top of my rainbow. I believe I'm going to be using some dimensionals to just kind of pop them up just slightly. If I can find them, which they're always lost on my desk. I hope I'm not the only one who runs into that problem where they're looking for their supplies and they're like, where did I put it? I know I put it somewhere down here. Oh my goodness. And then I love this one. I'm actually just stamping Good Vibes and only inked up the Good Vibes on there. So isn't that so great that you can use a set that's traditionally meant for card making, but I'm using it for scrapbooking. So I hope that you do that as well with your stamps, that you find ways to ink them and use them on your decorative elements for your scrapbooking projects. And I'm just trimming some of the leftover pieces from my dimensionals. I love using every square inch of those dimensionals. So I'm just trimming them to fit that particular banner and attaching it in that section before I move on to the right page. And I'm closing up my ink so that I don't get ink everywhere. And then I'm again using that green glue down here in that quadrant to attach those little Secret C hearts. And that's just such a great die with those fun little accent pieces. And so now I'm trying to mimic the same accent, just a little bit different, right? Because I'm not using the sunshine image. I'm just using the images that are similar and complementary in that small section down there. So that's another great tip to learn, is that each of your decorative elements do not have to look the same. Now I'm ready to bring in the right page, and we're going to line it up. I like to make sure that the two pages are right next to each other. That's why I have them like this, and I'm just going to move everything off to the side. I'm going to stagger and stack these banners in the correct order so that when I go to use them, I'll know exactly the right placement of them. I'm just making sure that the patterns match up really quickly. And I'm just setting those off to the side. I'm going to set off these decorative elements, and I'm going to bring in my ruler and the pencil again, and I'm going to make sure that my line for the sunshine is lined up exactly the same as the left page. And this is really important because it might not have been at the right measurement, and at least I can see exactly where I had stamped it on the left page to make sure that that line that I'm going to finally draw with my pencil is going to match up. So I'm just taking the time to make sure that these two pages line up. And as you can see, you know, I hit it and fumble around sometimes when I'm trying to do this on camera. So I appreciate your patience. So I'm just drawing that fine line. Then I'm going to bring in the ink, and I'm not going to stamp all the way across the page because I don't need to. And I'm bringing in that scrap piece of paper again so that I can stamp off and make sure that the sunshine on the edge of that right page is going to match up with the one on the left page. So then I lost the stamp. I couldn't find it. And, you know, it's not easy recording, but I found the stamp. It was hidden like literally right in front of my face, sitting on top of the ink pad. Don't you love how that happens? And so now I'm just lining this up and getting my sunshines to connect. And look at that, it's so perfect. I love how a plan comes together and it matches the way I intended it to. So now I'm just taking the sunburst and I'm making sure that I'm matching that up with the left side first. Then you're gonna stamp the inside of the sunshine and then the right side of the sunburst. And it's okay that it goes past the line, you're not even gonna see it. And yes, I did extend it a little bit longer than I wanted because I just wanted to make sure that the banners that I'm going to be placing on in just a few minutes cover that up, right? I just wanted to make sure that that came across. And then I start stamping those little lines down at the bottom of the page. And I haven't done the spraying of the water brush yet. And that's okay. There's no right or wrong way when you're doing these techniques. You can do them in different orders, and you can see at the end when I get done that you really can't tell. So it's okay if you stamp first and then splatter next. And of course I get ink everywhere, so I'm cleaning that off really quickly and closing up the ink pad so that I don't get ink where I don't want it. And I'm squeezing the Secret C now in the lid, and now we're going to do the splattering. So it's okay. You don't have to do it in order. Just make sure that you get your other projects and pieces out of the way and close up the other ink pads so that when you are splattering, you're not going to get ink where you don't want it to. And so now I'm just tapping over the sunshines, and then I'm going to tap in the lower left quadrant, the lower right quadrant, and then I decide, oh, I want some up at the top, and then I also want some kind of in the middle. So it's so faint and light that it's not that noticeable, but it's noticeable enough that it takes away some of that empty white space, which I tend to like to have something accenting it. And then I'm just using a rag tissue to wipe off the water brush, and it's okay. It's not going to always be clear and it won't ruin the integrity of the water brush, but it's important to wipe it off when you're done using it. And then I'm just wiping off a couple of the ink stamp pads so that I don't get ink where I don't want it. Okay, so now I can bring in these two pages, line them up. I love how my sunshine matches. And now I can go ahead and attach the cloud cover, cardstock, and the Secret C glimmer paper. And for the top one, you're going to notice that I don't have adhesive on all of the pieces all the way to the right side because we're going to add those banners. And I want to be able to lift up the cardstock and the glimmer paper so that the banners can tuck behind them. So that's why I only put adhesive on the left side of those pieces. And then I'm lifting up the photo mat as well. And you'll just see when I'm starting to stagger these banners that I lift up that glimmer paper so that I can tuck them right behind. And I love that trick. I hope that that's a helpful tip for you. And you can see I put the photo in the wrong spot, so I'm glad I didn't put adhesive up at the top either. All these mistakes that you guys get to learn from me. It's comical sometimes. I find I make more mistakes than I do not make mistakes, but at least you get to learn from them. And I hope that you gain some knowledge or a tip or a trick that will help you when you're crafting and making your beautiful scrapbooking pages. So I've got all my banners up, and now I can take that backing off the glimmer paper, and look at that. I love that look that it creates to these banners, and that little bit of shimmer and shine is just so beautiful. And so here's my last rainbow that I'm putting together, again with that fabulous glue. I'll make sure that I put the tools that I use in the product description down below as well for you, not just the products that I'm using, but also these tools, because I'm here to tell you that Take Your Pick tool is like my favorite tool that Stampin' Up! Has. If I haven't said it enough, right? And then I realized when I put down this rainbow that it wasn't in the right place, so I'm picking it up ever so carefully and I'm moving it over to where I want. I want that visual triangle, as you can see. I want it to truly look like a triangle. So I'm adjusting that rainbow and putting it up so that it's more parallel to the other one. And then I had already stamped the hello on that banner. And now I'm taking that little sunburst and adding that as the accent. And then those leftover 3 little tiny hearts that I cut out from the dies in Secret C. And then those fabulous muted colored dots. And then you'll notice that I had already added the title down at the bottom. It's the mini alphabet die. Ran it through Secret C twice, cardstock, so that I could get all of the letters that I needed. And then I'm turning them upside down. And then I'm going to add some of the green glue onto them. And then I will take that fabulous Take Your Pick tool and turn it upside down. Now, I will tell you, Stampin' Up! Has a masking tape. I've got it on order. I cannot wait to use it because it is going to make creating these titles so much faster and easier. So as soon as I have those available, I will be publishing a video showing you how quick and easy that masking tape is. Like, it will take this whole process and make it so much faster. I cannot wait. Didn't even know that they made it. So there we go, getting those all lined up the way I want them, finagling them with that Take Your Pick tool. And gotta love the putty side as well. Here's some close-ups of those. And now I've got my pictures out. Now I typically have my pictures already printed when I'm showing you guys a layout, but I didn't know what pictures I was going to use. And I decided to document the road trip that I went on with my dear friend Dana and her husband Greg and my husband Tom. So now I'm taking my pictures, I'm trimming them down just 1/4 of an inch so that they fit into the photo wells. And I like having that little bit of a white border around them. And yes, I'm taking 4x6 pictures and trimming them down to 4x4 to fit into some of these areas. So I love that you can take the Stampin' Up! Ruler on the paper trimmer and you can see exactly where the picture is going to get cut. And I love documenting our food and, of course, these beautiful sunsets on our various excursions. So I hope that this particular layout inspires you to also document those sunsets and your food. We don't always tend to do that. So this was a really fun project to share with all of you. And the BoHo Vibes paper is like spot on, so perfect. Look at the cloud cover. Now I understand why they called it cloud cover. It is the perfect color for the sky. And then look at that beautiful petal pink that's in this collection. Look at how it pulled out the sunset and the crushed curry as well. It's just so beautiful, and it looks great with food pictures too. So these are just the last few pictures for the right page, and then I did decide to take some of my leftover pictures, cut another photo mat out of basic white cardstock, and then put it into a 4x4 flip flap that I'll put onto my page protector once I get my journaling done. I haven't been able to do that yet. So I hope this was helpful, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for as long as you did and dealing with all of my mistakes along the way. I love sharing these projects with you and inspiring you to get your memories documented and preserved for others to come. So thank you again for being a part of this channel, and I appreciate you guys subscribing and commenting and sharing it with your fellow friends.